Hi BookTube, I'm here with a flip through of my 2021 book journal. I just used this random sketchbook thing that I found at our dollar store here. I really like the large format. And I just threw some stickers on it. In this video will also be stats because I have charts and stuff in here keeping track of all that. So let's just go into it. It is quite random. That's why I started with an index. I didn't actually keep up with the index, but yeah, it's all over the place. So here's my title page. It was cats. More cats. My goals for 2021, I did a whole video on them. I'll link that. Here's the books I read in 2021. I don't believe I got all of them on here. I think there are some extras. But yeah, the colors don't have any significance besides just whatever random pencil crayon I pulled out at the time. Then I kept track of some goals here. Rereads, ebooks, Black authors, Indigenous authors, religious books, and graphic works. And then I kept track of all the woman authors that I read. And I don't think I actually kept up with this because there doesn't seem to be as many countries as I think I did read from, because I believe there's 27 altogether, but yeah, there's that. And this is just a map from Wheel of Time. Then I kept track of all the nonfiction books I read, and that went right down to the bottom because I blew that goal out of the water. I kept track of some DNFs over here. And then we get into some of my monthly things. So I had my TBR, whether it met a goal that I had, page count, and then my final rating on it. And then I was gonna journal here, but I didn't end up doing that. So I have my best book and worst book of the month there. Yeah, that Beauty is a Wound, it had such potential, but it just, yeah. And then I did initially keep track of pages I read, and then as you can see as the month wore on, I kind of forgot to do that. And this is the February page. Canada Reads selections. The best book was Please Look After Mom. I didn't have a lot of worst books of the year. So yeah. And then March, my March page, llama themed. I know this is technically a sheep, but yeah. And then I kept having not worst books, so I just kept covering that up. But the best book was Guards. That book is amazing. I taped those pages together. And then I ripped out a bunch of pages because I had it all, my TBR filled up for the year, and then I changed my mind. So that's what happened there. Here I kept track of BIPOC authors that I was reading. Rereads that I did. There weren't that many. And this is my 2021 in review, but I missed February, so February's over here. And then I put September down here when it should have been up here, and then like August is down here. So in total, I read 32,663 pages. I listened to 248.58 hours of audiobooks. I read 65 physical, 30 audio, 8 ebooks, and 28 comics throughout the year. I was going to read 3 Malazan books. I read 1.5, so I guess I could print off the half cover of that. And then I was going to reread Ulysses, and I only read the first chapter. Yeah. And then a list of my audiobooks that I listened to here, a list of the ebooks that I ended up reading. And these are like my trackers here. So this is, if I put it like this. Okay, so these are genre trackers for fiction. So I read 5 historical fiction, 19 science fiction, 21 fantasy, 15 literary fiction, is that 5 again, crime or superheroes, 5 classics, 5 horror, that was surprising, and then other was 12. Yeah. And then this is my nonfiction tracker, so I read 10 about religion, 2 about race, 11 that were memoir biography. Now, these kind of cross over, so if it was a memoir about someone experiencing something in religion or something in race, that's why the numbers probably wouldn't add up if you're taking the time to add up the numbers, not that you would do that. I read 2 about science and 9 about history, and 3 that were other. And then I had a January spillover page. See what I see? This is very chaotic. And then I tried to keep track of when I started and finished books. I didn't keep doing that. I left a lot of pages for it, but yeah. And then this was my total here. I should actually fill that in, my 100 book goal, but I actually read 128 altogether. And then I had some favorite quotes. I'm just gonna read this one. I like it. The arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. You know what makes it bend, Masha? People hauling on that with all their strength, with all their lives. We pull and pull and pull, and then, bit by bit, it bends. People hear Dr. King's quote and think, oh well, if the arc of history is going to bend towards justice, then all we have to do is sit back and wait for it. But the truth is, it bends because we make it bend, and the instant we let up even a little, it snaps back. I like these. I should have kept up more with that. Then I kept track of how many pages the books were that I've read. So I think the majority, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 39, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 33. So most of the books I read were in the 100 to 200 page range. Yeah. And then I was trying to keep track of fables, and I didn't print out the pictures here because I didn't have a printer at the time. But I can do that. I just selected a little picture from each of the comics to print out. And then I should have finished this too, printing out all the comics, and it was supposed to be designed like a comic book page. And then I tried to do one of these book goals, but Guards just kept winning, and House of Leaves kept winning on the side, even though like maybe if it gone against a different book they wouldn't have won. So I don't like that. I don't like that format. So yeah, House of Leaves ended up winning because I didn't have a favorite book by the end of the year that I hadn't reread, and rereads will tend to win. And then I kept stats for a few months, but I decided to stop doing that. These are all the books on religion that I read throughout the year. And then at the beginning of the year, I still had my books wrapped, and I kept track of all the books that I unwrapped. Yeah, but I didn't unwrap all the books. I tried to do 5-star predictions, but then I didn't read all the books, and only 2 of them were actually 5-star predictions. And I DNF'd one completely. And then I did authors by continent, so I wrote down the author's name and where they were from, to see where, and then I eventually stopped North America because it just got too much, and I think I stopped doing England too. Yeah. I didn't annotate really anything in 2021, so that page remained blank. This was supposed to be a goal page, you know, I was going to track how many reviews I had done, but that didn't work out either. Dates published. This is an interesting page, I think. I didn't realize I was reading so many books from the 2010s, but apparently I did. And I didn't think I would be reading anything from the same year it was published, but I read 9. I only read 5 books that were published before the 1900s. That's interesting too. And then I kept track of works in translation, so I wrote the name of the book and the person who translated it on that page. So I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 works of translation last year. And this was my total page goal. Each month I tracked how many pages I read, and this is how many books I finished. So I could have read more in DNF books, or, you know, started a book in October and carried it over into November. Yeah, so April was a really good month there. And this is my Brothers Karamazov tracking page for my videos that I did, and I actually finished them. You know, I did first draft, the essays, final essays, and then posting the video. Yeah. Did he really name his kid Stinky? It's like he did. Smirtikov means smelly kid. I thought that was funny. A February spillover page, and February stats, and then I started doing individual pages for specific books. So this is Can You Hear the Nightbird Call, which is one of my all-time favorite books. And so it talks a lot about Indira Gandhi, so I got a picture of her. They own a restaurant called the Delhi Junction, so I got some Indian food out here. And then they'd give you the address of BBG's house. And so I looked it up on Google Maps and I printed it out. This is the Golden Temple. And then they talk about the Kamagata Maru, which was a ship that was full of Sikh people sent over to Canada and refused entry, and they were sent back, and a lot of them were actually killed. Yeah. Not a good moment in Canadian history. And then I did a whole 2-page spread for The Grey House, which was my favorite book last year. So there's like a character list right here. And then they smoked a lot, so I had this sticker and decided to put it on there. Blind. They had a dragon with a blue eye on the wall. The shoe is what started it all. These red sneakers. Yeah. And this is the title in Russian. I tried to tried to write it, and this is some fan art that people did of it. Yeah. And there's different names, like there was Mermaid was one of the names of the characters, Elephant was the name of the characters, and Sphinx was one of the names of the characters, Skull. Yeah. Oh, and then I did a March spillover, but didn't end up using it. Then I did Candid Reads page. You know, here's all the people and the covers of the books, and then the way they were eliminated. And then I did this page for the catalog of ships in the Iliad, and I thought it was funny. This comes down and shows you this is where all the ships came from, and this is a map of Troy. And then I got like Hera. I love this picture of Achilles. That's Brad Pitt as Achilles, but then the thing says fragile, feelings easily hurt. And there's a little ship here. It's supposed to move, but it's kind of awkward. And this is like an origami boat thing. Yeah. I had fun with that. And then I did my April TBR, and this is where I stopped keeping track of the stats. Oh, I did a page for the Honjin Murders. That was a very good book by Seishi Yokomizo. This is the Japanese cover of that book. And this is the Koto. That was part of the play there, and I had all these Japanese type stickers. That was fun. And then I have a Discworld tracker in here where I was keeping track of the books that I have read. I think I might just... No, I can't pull that out. And put it on the other page. Then for a while I was using prompts to pick books. That kind of went to the wayside when I started moving, so that's not all filled in. But yeah. May TBR and stuff, whether I actually read it is checked off. And then I started making new goals for the rest of the year after that. And I did a video on that as well. And these were more like trackers for those goals, which has not been completely filled out. And then I had my bookshelf organized in a certain way, so I decided to do a page about that. So by author's ethnicity, by age, non-novel formats, so poetry, plays, and short stories, other non-fiction shelf, classics, different genres, TV or movie inspired, and then mostly ebooks. And then I kept track of LGBTQ+ authors, disabled authors. And then I started an Around the World challenge, and that kind of went to the wayside, unfortunately. Yeah, with the moving and stress, so just, I read one. June TBR, and I started this checklist thing to kind of fit my goals. Yeah, I like this. I made the asexual flag out of washi tape there. And then, oh, this is my May conclusion, actually what I ended up reading, because I ended up reading way more than what was on my TBR. So, yeah. This book is really chaotic. Around the World challenge, I was going to start marking them off, but as I said again, that didn't really work out too well. June wrap up here, and then I really liked this A Discovery of Witches. I was surprised I liked it so much. So I did a page for that, like alchemical symbols they had, and this, she can shoot fire arrows. This is a quote from them. It begins with absence and desire. It begins with blood and fear. It begins with the discovery of witches. And he's a vampire and she's a witch, and it's Twilight for adults is basically what it is. And then we have July TBR, which was ocean themed. My reading was ocean themed too. And then here we go into the stats. So this is my gender breakdown. Male in blue, female in green, and non-binary in purple. So you can see when I started moving in September, everything just started going down. But yeah, it's interesting to see that tracking. May was a really good month for me. I read 27 books that month, so yeah. Diversity, I was tracking disabled, BIPOC, and LGBTQ plus authors. So you can see that here. The purple one is disabled authors, orange is LGBTQ, and green is BIPOC authors. I always read one each month. Never hit 0 though. I hit 0 with the disabled authors and with the LGBTQ plus ones. And then this was tracking fiction, nonfiction, or comics. Even though comics can be fiction and nonfiction, I don't know, that's just what I tracked there. Yeah, and I hit, except for February and December, I had no zeros in any of those. And then physical, ebook, comics, or e-comics, and audiobook formats as well there. And then I had my August TBR and then my August wrap up. See, this finally makes sense now, right? And then my September TBR, and this is where I stopped, and this is just me adding on after. So I finally did my wrap up on this page, and you're not going to see any more TBR pages. It's just going to be wrap up pages. I was trying to keep track of the stars, but I screwed up down here, so I stopped. I just been X through it and been like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And this is just me tracking how many stars. So 5 stars are the purple ones. So in May I had quite a few. I had 6, 7 there. I don't give out a lot of 1 stars. You see a lot of zeros there. That's pretty cool. So October wrap up, November wrap up, December wrap up, and I believe that's the end of my book journal for 2021. Let me know if you keep track of you're reading any physical book journal or even an online book journal. I've seen those around too, and thank you for watching.